Hi, everyone, and welcome to Bragging Rights. I am Lisa Bragg, and I wanted to tell you why I started this show. I started this show because I wanted to help people to really be seen as the experts that they are. You know, your professional brand is unique to you, and it will open doors. It will give you more opportunities, and it allows you to also share your value with the world. And we need your value right now. So, one thing I talk to my clients a lot about, who are managers, directors, C suite, is about the power of LinkedIn. And the platform is crucial right now, as many of us worldwide can't get out and network one to one or go to our favorite places to meet people. We're not going to events. So LinkedIn is one of the greatest ways for us to really reach and have more conversations right now. And joining me right now is Brynne Tillman. Let me grab her here. Uh, there we go. See, I always have one.
Hi, Lisa.
Nice to see you.
So good to see you.
I want to just say I love, you're all LinkedIn, so you've really thought it out and you really have it down. But I love your bio on it, that your headline. It's convert content and connections to conversations. And that's really how things start, isn't it? In so many ways, it's about conversations.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, how do you help people start those conversations?
Yeah. So there are a few things foundationally that have to be put in place in order to optimize the opportunity for conversations. Number one, and we can talk deeper into this, you've got to position your profile in a value-centric value-centric mindset. Move it from resume to resource so that when you bring people to your profile, you resonate with them, you create curiosity, you teach them something new and get them thinking a little bit differently about their current situation. That will lead them to wanting a conversation, right? So those are some of the elements, and we can dive deep into them. Happy to do that. The next thing is we have to make sure that our content is about what they want to read, not what we want to tell them. And it's a big mistake that we make, which is, I want to teach them all about my products and services. And when it comes down to it, we've got to earn the right for them to ever care about that. So a couple of things to keep in mind is engage with them at the step prior to them needing you. So you've got to understand what are they searching before they know they need your products and services? How can you educate them in the step prior to needing you? Because now you're capturing them at the time where, they're interested, they're exploring, they have that challenge, right? And you're capturing them at the moment that you can solve this problem that will lead to the real problem you solve, which is your product and service.
Oh, Brynne, that was just value right there, right off the top. So many nuggets and so many things. I'm like, yes, I'm so glad you, as an expert on LinkedIn, I'm not using the quotation marks, but you are an expert on LinkedIn. And these are the things I say all the time for sure. So I'm so excited.
Oh, I love that alignment.
It's going to be so good. So if you are watching now live, we'd love to respond to any of your questions. So put it in the comments. And we'd also love to know where you're watching from in the world. So that's often a good way for all of us to get started. So I know we always have people in Toronto. So let's see where else you are. Brynne, where are you in the world?
I am in Philadelphia, sandwiched between New York and DC.
Nice. So you've been busy a little bit down there for the last little while.
I'm very proud of my state.
Good. Okay, so we'll look for some comments in a second. I'm just trying to get that up. But Brynne, how do you really help condition people to think about their audience first with your content? Because that's what I talk about all the time. I talk about an audience journey loop and thinking about your audience. Talk to us a little bit about that, because I think that's really a place to start.
So I love that. And not to go deep into the avatar, right? But you've got to and let's assume you've got some clients today that love you. So if we come with that assumption, we want to identify what it is that they care about. What are they engaging on? One of the greatest things you could do if you're sitting there going, I have no idea what my audience wants, start your content with a poll. Ask them the question. Like, start to identify what it is that they care about. Look at what your clients are sharing and engaging on LinkedIn. Look at who they're following, because it's a great place to curate content. And start to think about two more things. Number one, their industry, which may not be related to your product or service at all, but they care about their industry. So really learning about that. And the other piece, which everyone, and I, it's even a place that I need to work on deeply, is learning about their client, right? Because they're serving their client. So if you can understand their client, they want content that helps them to understand their client better too. So, if you know that you sell to coaches who sell to executives, CEOs and executives, getting content not just specifically on coaching that you're selling to, but getting content on what the CEOs care about, because now the coaches who care about the CEOs are going to be interested in that. So taking it like that one step deeper and really just, I hate to say listen, because it's a little over, but research. It's really, research, listen, and record what it is that they're already engaging on and see how you can kind of fit into the thing they're already attracted to.
Yeah, you don't have to make it so hard for yourself. You can see the path in front of you if you just take a little bit of time to look, listen, research, do those things. So love to hear what you're thinking. How are you doing with your LinkedIn profile for your professional brand, for your corporate brand? Happy to answer any of those questions right now. And also want to know where you're from. We do see that you're watching. So come join the conversation with Brynne. Brynne is an expert in LinkedIn. Not only does she have her company that's LinkedIn, but she also has 60,000 followers. That's a big number, Brynne. That is a very big number.
Yeah, it's not always the size, it's the quantity, it's the quality too, right?
Oh my goodness. Totally. I was just that was my next thing, is that it's not always the size. 100 raving fans, right? Talk to us about that. Love your points.
Yeah, I mean, and why the moment I'm blocking the study, but they say there's 150 people is what we can actively maintain a relationship with at any one time. It was a book or a study, and I'll pull it out somewhere. But and it may be more than that. So 64,000 is a little crazy. Now there's two things, right? There's the people that we know, who you know, and then there's the people who know you. And they're not always the same. Like and Candace, can we pull up that quote
Candace says, great points, Brynne. I've seen your profile on CH. This is valuable info for that as well.
So so this is interesting. So CH is Clubhouse, right? Which is all the cool kids are doing it, right? So not that I'm kind of the geeky kid that wants to hang with the cool kids, so I'm there. But Candace, and now I know Candace here, right? But I didn't know Candace. Candace knew me. So there's two lanes. There's the relationship lane, which is smaller, right? That you can nurture and that you can grow. And then there's the influencer lane, where you can nurture them to the point when they raise their hand, they get to come into your 150.
Yeah, and I know Candace in real life.
Okay.
I know Candace from social too. And so that's one of my points though. Look how small this world is. And when you're in, working on LinkedIn and doing your things on LinkedIn, and then you're in real life or you're in Clubhouse, and the world just becomes that much smaller. So you can build your community and actually have better conversations with people.
Absolutely. And I'm loving Clubhouse. And I think Clubhouse and LinkedIn are incredible. So here, what Clubhouse is an app that right now is in beta, and you have to have iOS in order to access it. You need an invitation, and but I believe it will be the it place. And the reason is it's an audio only collaborative. You go into rooms and talk with people. So the thing about LinkedIn is it's all messages. I mean, you could do a video message on the app, you could do an audio message on the app, but it's one way, and then they respond. This is conversations on audio. And
it's like a radio show where you call in and you can have a conversation with the host. You're actually interacting with them all the time. And so it's not, so you can ask your questions in real time verbally with audio. So it's really neat that way to come up on stage and to add your conversation to it. So it is a neat feature that a lot of people are looking to add to their social media. What's your my handle on Clubhouse is at Lisa Bragg. So nice and simple.
At Brynne Tillman. So there you go.
If you are also on Clubhouse and want more followers, because we're all just starting out there, please put your information in the chat and we'll find each other, because that's what we do. We want to build each other up, because rising tides, more friends, eventually we'll have more conversations with each other.
If you go into a wait list, so if you're not invited and you log into a wait list, anyone in your contacts will be notified that you're on a wait list, and they can actually accept you in. So make sure sign up for the wait list. Right now it's only iOS. I have a friend that went out and bought like an $800 iPhone refurbished just to be on Clubhouse because he's an Android guy.
Okay, well, that's something to say. Really get it going on getting that invitation to get on and use it, because that's the thing. That's like LinkedIn. I think a lot of people haven't really used the power of LinkedIn, and then for Clubhouse, people are still slow to get on it. So when you're both using the power of both, or even just growing in one, you will reap rewards for it. So that's
Love it.
Really, really good advice. So again, not just followers. You're not trying to get, 1 million followers who then do nothing for you. It's really harnessing the power of some of those advocates for you. What question I get a lot from people when they're working on their professional brand, so they want to really work on their own brand instead of working on their company's brand, is that they feel really siloed and they can't reach out. What are your tips for helping people expand their network beyond, if they're in health sciences and pharma, they want to start looking beyond where they are? What's your advice for people on the professional branding side?
Yeah, well, so it's almost two questions. So there's the professional branding side of it, and then there's the connections, finding that network side of it. So we are many faceted. If you look, I have about 5 on my LinkedIn profile. I have about 5 current positions, right? So I don't have 5 jobs, but I'm a host of, the Sales Experts channel. I'm, I actually, I'm an author, right? And all of those are existing or current positions on my profile. So you can list all of them, right? If you have a side gig, you can list it there. So don't worry about having too many different things listed if they're all you. This is your hub, right? Like that's who you are. Building the network. So let's say we want to build a brand new network in a completely new industry and we have no one that we know in there. How do we get started? So the very first thing we recommend is find magnets. Magnets are people that are sharing content that are attracting your ideal prospect or your ideal, who are you trying to attract? Start to engage on that author's content and engage individually with the people that are commenting. All of a sudden, right, you're going to start conversations. It will be a natural connection request. Great chatting with you on LinkedIn. Really loved your comment on Lisa's post. So the first thing is really go look at who are the major influencers. Now, if you're challenged to find them on LinkedIn, go Google. Find the big bloggers, the big YouTubers in that industry, and then find them on LinkedIn, right? And chances are, if they're blogging and they're YouTubing, they've got lots of content on LinkedIn, and they're your magnets. So you can find 5 to 10. We have magnets. So, and we're magnets for other people, but find your magnets, right? Find the people that are already talking about that and get into that conversation. That's a really good way to do that. I'm sure, we could talk about tons of things to do, but that is, I think, the fastest way to get started.
Yeah, and I loved your point earlier too about not using it as your resume, LinkedIn. Yeah. It's really about, for me, what I coach to people who I coach, it's about building your promise. So what's your promise for the future, your brand promise about where you want to go and where you want to take them, instead of having it always about, here's the skills of the past, because those skills might not be what we need. And they're also often so redundant as soon as we put them down. So what do you recommend?
Well, we have to define what you want to get from it first, right? So there's not one recommendation across the board, but are you in a business development role and your wallet depends on your sales? If that's the case, we're going to make this your landing page, right? So if you just want to network and you're not in a business development role, we want to define who is it you want to network with, who are the people, and then we want to make sure authentically that your page is built in a way that lets them know that that you're a match to have a conversation with. So a lot of it is starting with, what is your goal? I mean, this is anything in sales or marketing. You got to start with the end in mind, right? Where do we want to land and back into that?
Yeah, because it's about being authentic and earning trust, because those are the two things that really will attract more people. So I'd love to hear from you. Everyone in the audience is being so quiet today. I do see people watching, but come on, Brynne's an expert and she's happy to answer any of your LinkedIn questions. How do you get more followers? How do you build things? How do you have those conversations? I know people are shy, and LinkedIn is a great tool for introverts, especially in this time where we're not getting out. Because introverts, you can take the time to really write something amazing and then post it. It doesn't have to be that instant conversation like when you go to events. And it's also during this era where many of us aren't out, we're planting seeds in whatever social media, wherever you're going online, you're planting seeds for the future. So I think that this is a great time. So I'd love to hear from more of you. And if you're not watching now, you're watching the replay, Brynne and I will come back and answer some of your questions, but I'd love to.
Yeah, we'd be happy to. I will say, the idea of original content intimidates some people. Like, I'm not a writer. Honestly, my best stuff, they're not my blogs. They're my one-liners that I put in a little Canva image. And so what I would say is, you may not be a writer, but you are a content expert, because every day you're having conversations around your subject matter expertise, and you're saying genius things. Like, if you get someone to say, "Oh, that's great, thanks," capture that. Write it down. If you say something and they're like, "Oh, that was a great tip, I really appreciate it," that's content, right? And it doesn't have to be a whole blog post. It can just be an idea that sparks something. My best stuff isn't about my opinion. It's a thought that I have that sparks other people to think about their world.
Yeah.
Right? If you can do that, you're going to get engagement. My quotes get much more engagement than the entire blog post that inspired the one quote.
Yeah. If you have that blog post, pull it out, all those little pieces of it, and use that. So glean all those nuggets and harvest from it and post those up. But also another easy way is to grab other people's content and make sure you comment on it. That's the easiest way, is take someone else's piece, copy it. It's still theirs, but put your thought leadership on it. What do you think about that article? How can you add to their thinking? So Amy's asked a question: what are some of the best practices to start building your personal brand on social?
Yeah, so I'd like to know, Amy, is that personal brand or is it professional brand? Because there is a difference, right? I have a very different brand on Facebook than I do on LinkedIn. My brand on Facebook is, I'm a new grandma. I have a little grand puppy. That's my brand. That if someone said to me, "Oh, what do you know about Brynne?" Well, Brynne is like with this grandbaby every freaking day with all those little cuteses, right? And there's no real professional in that. Your professional brand is, what do you want to achieve? And I think LinkedIn, if you are in a business, so professional brand, and here's what you said, her name is Amy. So Amy, you're showing up to me as a LinkedIn user without your name, which is telling me your settings are on private.
Oh, because on here, because you're looking at it StreamYard. When I'm looking at it on LinkedIn, I can see her name and things like that.
You're connected to her.
I am.
Right. So her privacy settings are off. Her privacy settings are set that only her first degree connections can see who she is. Because I can see Candace fine, right? So
amazing point right off the top, Amy. Let's fix those settings for sure. But it's definitely Amy's professional brand. And that's what I always talk about. And I love that you've defined it too, because it's your personal brand, especially if you're going to be an influencer, that's your personal brand. But when you're presenting and that you want to grow your professional brand, where it might be for your corporate, it's for those professional goals that you want to have. Sometimes they can get muddied and you can get in trouble with them, but you really want to make sure that they're separate and that you're really putting out content that elevates your professional brand. The personal brand will take care of itself. So
yeah, and it's really what do you want to get out of each platform? So if LinkedIn, Amy, if your goal is business development, we need to start with defining 4 major things, right? Who do you help? How do you help them? Why you? Right? What is it about? You're differentiated. We could talk about why that is. And then clearly define your solution. So a lot of folks can't describe what it is they do. I can't tell you how many times I have people in a networking meeting that I still don't understand their deliverable.
Yeah, that's really one of the things in my course that I work on first is that what are you here for? What do you want to say to the world? So you're a hidden gem and you want to step in the spotlight. Great. That's how we have to help you. So you need to have, what are you going to take people from and to? So I think that's really a critical piece is defining that piece of information for people. But
yeah. And then if I could just add one more thing, because I think this is important, and typically this happens in the about section, but you want to position yourself in a way. I mean, we've got to get them thinking differently about their current situation. No matter what you sell, your biggest competitor is status quo, right? Getting them to move. So we have to do our best to get them to understand that where they are is not ideal, right? We've got to make that move. And we do that through education and insights. It's not about telling them, hey, this is what we do, but a little bit about how you should think about things. Teach them how to think a little bit differently. And when we can do that, we get hands raised.
And that's all why I call this episode when I talk to you. It was give, because that's really what your success has been, is giving knowledge and giving information and giving different tools and giving to the world. And then even in COVID, you reap rewards because of it, because you gave so much during this time. You were a leader and a helper. Those are positionings I talk about a lot, but you were a leader and a helper all the way through and giving. And because you gave so much, your business.
I did. Yeah, it was good.
Well. Good for you.
Good. And what I love is the business that I do helps other people do well. So I had clients that did well because so it totally builds on each other. Michael Port. Do you know Michael Port? He, Heroic Public Speaking.
That's where we met. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I knew, of course, to the world, Michael Port. It's one of those moments. I'm like, yeah, of course. He has a fabulous saying, which is give away so much value that you're afraid you gave too much, and then give more. So absolutely, hands down, one of my favorites. Because I can't, almost everyone I work with said, well, I don't want my competitors to know that. That's my secret sauce. Share it. That's what's going to bring them to you.
Yeah.
Keep sharing it.
Share. You're just giving me so many shivers because it's just like so great to hear all the things. Like, this is what I've been telling people, and that you, as LinkedIn expert, also agree with all of these things too. So it's nice to have that. But it's definitely share. And you know what? People want you to implement it then, or they want your help because they don't know all of it, and you've really done the deep dive. And because you're willing to give so much, they realize that then there's probably so much more that you could give to them. Further and to really help them on their journey. So Catherine joins us and says, great comment, give a little more. So I think we do. I think there's that scarcity mindset where we don't got to hold it back, say if someone steals it. You know what though? There really isn't an original idea out there. Everyone has a lot of ideas, but if you share it even further, people will see you as the expert you are. So
The Corporate Visions did a study. And they found that 74% of buyers choose the sales rep that was first to bring value and insight. It's not price, it's value and insights. 3/4 of people make their decision around the salesperson who provided value and insight. So no question, we have to get much better at providing value and insight. Just keep providing it. They will come.
Yeah, value and insight. So let's hear how you're providing value and insight, or how any thoughts that you have about what you can do now to up your LinkedIn and give more value and insight to the world. I know, Catherine, you do videos. So what else can we be doing to put things out there without making it more work? Because that's the big problem is
Well,
spoke to that.
I mean, there is no pixie dust, right? There's just not. So it is going to be a little more work. I'm not going to lie, right? Like that, just like come in with that expectation. But there is a difference between the influencer marketing inbound side and the outbound side, right? So the inbound is a little bit of a marketing-ish, like get the insides out, but it's still starting one-on-one conversations is the goal, right? The goal of all of this is to start more conversations, because if you're not starting conversations, it's just having fun on a social media platform. So we have to always be working toward that. The second piece is the outbound piece. Like, so what are we doing? And I am not a cold caller. I don't like it on the phone, and I hate it on social. I think it's terrible. The connect and pitch is a bait and switch. I mean, it's awful. But if you have a good base of clients or networking partners that already know your value and know, like, and trust you, then you have the opportunity to get referrals that in a way that no other option gives us. So go to your clients, mine their connections. You can search them, find the 10, 12, 20, 30 people they know that you want to meet, and get on a call with them. And you're not saying, hey, can you introduce me to these 30 people, because you're going to burn a client. But if you say, hey, Lisa, I know you're connected to a bunch of people on LinkedIn that I'm going to be reaching out to in the next couple of days. But before I do, I'm wondering, can I run them by you and get some insights?
Brilliant.
Right? Now we run through really quickly in a spreadsheet. Of the 30, there are 8 people that you think I would be great for.
Just save me a load of time.
Right? And then, hey, Lisa, is there anyone on this list you'd be comfortable introducing me to? 2, great. When I reach out to these other 6, can I mention we had this conversation, that you're my client, that you love me, and that you thought that I should reach out to them? Yes. So you make introductions to 2. The other 6, I have Fred. Lisa Bragg and I were chatting the other day. Your name came up in our conversation. And because she's my client and knows what I do, she thought I should reach out and introduce myself, and I might be able to bring some value to you, even if we don't work together. Let's set up a quick call.
Brilliant. I love it on so many levels too, because not only are you allowing your current client to help you, which they want to help you. So many people don't realize that other people actually want to help you. And so you're allowing them to feel really good about helping you. So I think that's a brilliant comment. So we're going to wrap up our time soon, but I would love if you have any questions from the audience, or tell us what you're doing, or want us to follow and connect with you, put your comments in, and we'll definitely come back and chat further with you at another time. But Brynne, what are some other tips that we can give and walk away with about how to really maybe convert the conversation? So we've been posting, people are interested. We don't want to do that message and then it's like, oh, we're going to be your friend, and then it's come to a sales call. Like, that's just so icky.
Yeah. So be prepared with more insights. So it might be, so let's say, so I have a couple of things. I have a thought leadership checklist. I have a profile checklist. I have a day in the life of a social seller. I have a few base pieces that I just share all the time. So now I find someone that's engaging on a magnet. So someone is engaging on Jeffrey Gitomer's post, and I want to engage with them. So, I start a conversation with how much I love Jeffrey Gitomer, because that's what we have in common, right? And have you seen what his wife Jennifer has done? Because she's got some great stuff too, right? Now I share one of their links with them. Hey, did you see this podcast that they did from 3 years ago? That's my favorite, right? And so I have a conversation around that magnet first. Then I say, I don't know if you're interested, but I have a piece of content similar. Let me know. I'll send you a link. Don't send your stuff without permission. You can send other people's stuff without permission. You could send, right? But don't send other people's stuff without permission. Ask permission. So, obviously, this is a topic that you're passionate about. I have something similar. Are you interested? Now they send it. Now I'll send it, and I'll say, I'd love to hear your insights. I'm always looking to improve it. After you review, I'd love to jump on a quick call and See, and I can offer additional insights as well if this resonates with you. Right. And now the call is around a conversation, it's not a sale, but here's how we convert it to a sales call. At the end, I ask you, so, what are challenges you're going through? And I provide insights around that. And then I ask permission to share a case study. Lisa, I'd love to share with you something that we did very similar with a client a couple of years ago. Are you open to hearing that story? Permission-based. Sure, at that point, you're not going to say no. We're in a conversation. So I tell the story quickly. And then does that resonate with you? If so, I'd be happy to either continue the conversation or set up a second call where I might be able to share with you how we might be able to do the same thing for you.
Yeah. Beautiful. It doesn't feel like you're intruding my space. It's nice and easy. You're giving. Martin's joining us, and he says he's a fierce global networker. LinkedIn is a wonderful tool to be defined in a niche, then network with that audience. So what are your thoughts to that? Absolutely agree, right? So.
Yeah. There's nothing to disagree with on that. That's great.
Thank
you, Martin.
So what are some of your final tips, especially during COVID, where we want to maximize our time? Oh, Verity, thank you for joining us. Very helpful. Thanks. Nice to see you on here. Nice to see your picture there too. So any other last tips that you'd want to give that can really help people with their professional brand to really maximize their time on LinkedIn and to, give, because that was the theme of this call.
Yeah. I have so many additional resources for free. If you're interested, you could go to linkedinlibrary.com, totally free. It's a lot of fun. You become a member. It's a free membership on our site, which means you have access to some of the most brilliant sales and marketing minds of today, because we bring in other people. It's not just us. And we've got some great stuff. So feel free, linkedinlibrary.com. We'd love to have you as our newest member.
Yeah, and I'll add that to the show notes for all of you. So we don't have to go and look that right now. But Brynne, thank you so much. Follow her and just glean all the insights that you can as we, continue talking about professional brand and how to grow it. I know we talked about Clubhouse today, so I'm sure we'll see some of you thinking about that. We can have a conversation about Clubhouse another time. But thank you so much for joining us and giving all of your valuable time. So appreciate it.
Oh my gosh, Lisa, this was so much fun. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. See you, everyone. Bye-bye.